Good morning and welcome to the Cultural Capacity Podcast. I'm Kara Gonzalez Howard. I'm one of your hosts and teachers here on Educator Aid. I just wanted to come on this morning and do a quick well-being check-in. I've been trying to hop on a little bit more often with some wellness tips and check-ins for you to kind of guide you through how you navigate wellness in the workplace. I feel like workplace wellness is kind of an overused term. I wish I could come up with something better, but it's something that everyone is familiar with. Lots of corporations and organizations have workplace wellness initiatives that they regularly try to get employees involved in. Unfortunately, a lot of the times the wellness initiatives at especially larger organizations can be actually things that take away from coworkers more than they give back. An example of this, and I'm not knocking volunteer work whatsoever, is I used to work for a large healthcare organization in Northeast Indiana, and one of the kind of wellness initiatives often was designed to, have coworkers gather together and create community service efforts, which is beautiful. However, I think when you tie that to organizational well-being and individual well-being, yes, giving back can give a person a sense of joy, fulfillment, that sort of thing. However, when people are stretched and pulled with many outside obligations and often are serving in their communities already, it's kind of a contradictory initiative in my opinion, and often you get coworkers that arrive as a sense of obligation instead of something that they would choose on their own. So I want to talk about small ways that you can create wellness in your workplace environment. One of the things that I always did, I had a small desk in a small office to my last 5 years of my career as a nurse educator, to kind of create my own little space. I shared an office with a couple other girls. I also had other people that I knew that had their own little space within the hospital. They would bring family pictures, obviously, hang some different things on the wall that brought joy to them. Also bringing in small lamps to create different lighting ambiance in kind of accordance to whatever you prefer, what brings you joy throughout your day. Having music on can help some people if you're in a space that you can listen to some music or have some earbuds in. Also, trying to get outside. This morning, this is my little break, recording this video. This brings me joy, so within my morning I delegated about 15-20 minutes to come outside and record this video. I love being out in the morning sun, getting a little dose of vitamin D. If you're at a place that has a walking path or anything like that, getting out there for 15-20 minutes a day is a beautiful and necessary thing. When I was working in the hospital setting, I would try to get up every about half hour to an hour and take a brief trip around some of the nurses' stations to kind of round with people and get my exercise in, get rid of that stiffness that we get as we sit longer into our older age, but also just getting outside for lunch if you can swing that. If you work at a place where you're like, this sounds really unreasonable, there's no way I can slip away for 10 or 15 minutes to do any of these things, then that's possibly time to re-examine your workplace environment. If you have a supervisor who is making you feel like you can't take breaks in the way that you want to take them, then that's also another thing to examine. For me, wellness in the hospital setting, it was really kind of interesting how we had all these healthy wellness community initiatives that our healthcare organization promoted, while many of the healthcare workers were kind of expected to work these long 12-hour shifts with a 30-minute lunch break and maybe a couple, 5 to 10 minute get away from the floor breaks. But when it came to wellness, oftentimes employees were, it was out of the necessity of the industry and taking care of other people. You don't always get even the half-hour break in a 12-hour shift. So there's a lot of disparity there. There are definitely staffing models in different organizations that require and allow a healthy workplace environment to be built. But then there are others that definitely fall way short of that. My husband works in manufacturing, and that is one industry that I can say not only hard on your body, but it's also very competitive environment and can be very grueling and very much productivity, kind of oriented when it comes to people. Our most important asset in the workplace are our people. And I think even with the introduction of different AI intelligence and all of that, we do ourselves a disservice by not continuing to build our initiatives for the people, our social capital in different ways. So I just wanted to hop on for a brief period of time this morning and remind you that you are worthy of taking these breaks. It's necessary and needed. If you're in leadership, if you're not in leadership, if you're a person that's striving to be in a leadership role, to kind of set the tone for your own personal practice in your profession and in your life in general, to kind of build these small habits that create, big results in the end. After almost 2 decades of working in healthcare and various different traumatic experiences, I developed an autoimmune disorder now that I deal with on a daily basis. And that's not a unique story at all. That's very, very common. People struggle with these things all the time, and oftentimes, especially I've noticed with women, we're kind of pushed to the side. Oh, you just need to have less stress in your life, or you need to exercise more, you need to eat differently, blah, blah, blah. Yes, and all those things are true. And also, the rest part, we often confuse our worthiness with the amount that we can output for other people, when in reality, I believe we're each put here for a purpose on earth, and we each have our own unique design and ability to bring special things to every table that we sit at. But we first and foremost need to prioritize ourselves and take care of ourselves in that. Building those small habits has taken the last probably 2 years. I've been away from the bedside and the nursing environment. I do something completely different now. And I wouldn't change anything about the way that I decided to leave nursing, the time I spent in that field. I don't have any regrets about it. However, it took me a lot of undoing the last couple of years that I've been away from it to kind of be like, wow, I really neglected that part of what I needed in an effort to kind of care for others around me. And boy, was that short-sighted when it came to the effects on my body, mind, and spirit. So it takes time. Give yourself grace. Small little baby steps every day. They say it takes like a full 30 days to build a habit. So I just try to think of new things that I implement in my life as habit building activities. So for example, in my diet, I had to cut out a lot of foods that I really enjoyed because of my autoimmune disorder. That's been a struggle. Food is something that brings joy to a lot of people. It's a sense of gathering and communing together with friends and family. And when you have some of those restrictions that you're not used to, and you have certain foods that you're used to eating for your entire life that you love, and it's just kind of part of your diet, and cutting those out feels like a bit of a stretch and a hardship. But I will say, body, mind, spirit wise, slowly, very, very slowly, kind of cutting out those things from my diet and increasing some of the things that are healthier. Maybe I don't like them as much as celery juice that decreases inflammation. Don't really like it, but I drink it because it helps my body. Those are small things that I'm doing every day and working through every day. So that's just one small example. Carving out time for thinking about these things is also important. So just wanted to do a quick check-in. If you work, again, at an organization that doesn't value these things, at a certain point, you have to decide if this is affecting your health and wellness in the long term, and you have to decide if that's something that you're willing to sacrifice for your employment, or if it's something that you can change at a local level as far as like changing the culture in your workplace. And if none of those options are available or feel like reality to you, maybe it's time to start looking for, something different, the next chapter of life. I'm doing it, and it's something that has brought me exponential joy and healing in my life in a lot of ways. Let me know in the comments some of your wellness practices that you are able to slip in at work. It might help some of the other people that are watching this video. Small things. Take 5 to 10 minutes. And your life, as you grow in your practices of wellness and focusing on things that bring you happiness and wellness in your life, you're going to notice a huge overall change in your energy levels and what you're able to give back to others. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon.